안녕하세요, Mina. Okay, so today I'm gonna do something that I hope will be very helpful to you, and that is going to be how do you get cheap tickets to fly basically anywhere you want in the world, especially if you want to see more than just one location at a time. I'm gonna tell you how I did my journey and everything else at the end of the video, but I just want to give you some general tips on how you can get cheap flights and just in general have a good time when you want to travel somewhere. So the first tip, and probably the most obvious one that many people seem to be neglecting a little bit, is to find a very good travel site that you like and that works for you. I can give you my recommendation, and that would be Momondo, because that's my favorite site, but that might not be the best site for you depending on what you prioritize when you want to find your journeys. The best travel site for someone living in Norway might not be the best travel site for someone living in the US or for someone living in Japan or Australia or Africa. I don't know. It's important that you find one that works well for you, and you can look up so much stuff online. Googling best travel sites is gonna give you a whole list of stuff, and you can just look at them and see what you like best. Again, I personally like Momondo because you can put up a price thing, warning, notification thingy. You can look at different dates and a diagram that shows you which ones would probably be cheaper. You can have some inspiration, you can have some just browsing tips. I like Momondo a lot. Personal preference. Also, you can use a timetable there, so you can actually design your tickets depending on when in the 24 hours you want to leave, which I think is actually pretty great. But again, your preference, find something that works for you, that's really important. Okay, so the second tip is probably gonna be the most difficult for you to do well. This comes with a lot of practice, honestly, and that is finding the right travel schedule and travel route to work with your economy and your time. Basically, what I'm saying with this is, let's say you want to visit both Korea and Japan. They're 2 hours away from each other, so if you like both places, it kind of makes sense that you would visit both of them when you're in the neighborhood. Now, how do you make this the cheapest way possible? I struggled with this a lot when I wanted to find my tickets, because I wanted to see both Korea and Japan, and I wanted to have a sufficient amount of time in both of them, and I didn't want to spend days traveling in airplanes and airports and whatnot. Do you want to have one round ticket from your destination to Korea and back, and then order an extra set of tickets from Korea to Japan and back to Korea again? Do you want to go from your destination to Korea and then to Japan and then back to your destination and not have to go back to Korea at all? That's a round trip that goes in different locations. That works as well. Actually putting together the route that you want to take might be a little difficult and a little daunting at first, and especially when you want to look up tickets for all of it like I did. I spent days just looking up different travel routes on different dates and different times of the day, and just I wrote down all of it, and I looked at what would be the cheapest. At first, I honestly looked more at either one round trip from Norway to Korea, and then having an extra tickets from Korea to Japan and then back to Korea, because I thought that would be easier, but that was really expensive. And then I started looking at single tickets, so one ticket from Norway to Korea, and then one ticket from Korea to Japan, and then one ticket from Japan to Korea again. Now this was still kind of expensive, slightly less expensive. The thing about that is that you have no security because none of these tickets are connected. It's messy, and it's not that secure if you're gonna lose a plane or whatever. Eventually, what I found is that for me, for that time, the cheapest option was to get tickets from Norway to Korea, and then from Japan back to Norway, which leaves a gap between Korea and Japan. I had to get there, and I had to order those tickets elsewhere. Another thing that you might want to think about is which city is your outgoing city. For me, I live in a small city, so if I want to travel anywhere in the world, chances are I'm gonna have to stop over in Oslo, which is the capital of Norway. That makes sense, but sometimes if I take a bus a couple hours into a bigger city around my city, which would be cheaper than flying to Oslo, I can get direct flights or cheaper flights. This again depends a lot on where you are and where you live, but I do recommend that you check out what if I just change the travel the outgoing city to a different city that is relatively close to yours. Essentially what I'm saying is that if you live 3 hours away from a big city by bus, maybe it's cheaper for you to look at tickets from that city and then just take the bus to that city. You will probably get more options, and maybe you can even find some direct flights, which means no stopovers, which is always welcome. My tip number 3 is to write down numbers and keep track of it and look it up several times and just write everything down. Make it very organized. It's a little overwhelming when you want to look at 5 different options of a route and then 10 different options in dates and everything. It gets really overwhelming. So what I usually do, by the way, I use different travel sites at once. I don't only use Momondo. I use 3 of them, and I look up all the tickets on 3 different sites to see if there's any difference in price and just all that stuff. So it's a little a lot. It's a lot. It takes a while. I'm getting good at this. I'm starting to feel like I'm actually getting good at planning trips, which is nice, but it's not that easy to begin with, so yeah, it's a lot of fiddly work. But whatever. What I was saying is that you just write down everything. Keep like a few like pieces of paper stapled together and just write down the dates of when you look it up. That's kind of important. So when you look it up, and then you write down all the prices you found for all the different options, and then probably you will not buy the tickets the same day you look it up the first time, so you might check in later, like a couple of weeks. So write down every time you check them, write down the date you looked at it and everything, and see if the price like fluctuates or goes down or up and whatever. Instead of keeping in your head, okay, with that site and that date it costs around $1,000, but if I go that date it costs like $1,000 and $200. Instead of keeping all that in mind, just write it down. Also, price alerts. I almost forgot to mention you should get price alerts. A lot of sites offer this. I know Momondo does. Basically, you pick out the route or whatever you look at. Like you look at tickets from there to there and there, and then you can just click price alert, and it will let you know if the price goes up or down. Okay, my tip number 4 is really important because it could either give you a lot of like economic headaches later, or it can save you a lot of money, and that is to look up what is included when you buy the ticket. Some airlines will give you like, they will include luggage with your ticket as a normal thing. You always get carry-on, almost, I think. But I find that there's a lot of differences in airlines that offer you actual like check-in luggage. So you should check that out. And if you need like seat reservation, maybe you have a really strong preference in sitting far back or by the toilets or over the wings, then I recommend that you check out what's gonna be extra fees. For example, when I ordered my tickets from Korea to Japan, I used an airline called Peach. Now Peach is pretty neat because they have pretty cheap prices, and carry-on is of course included in the price, so there's no extra fee for that. But their fees for luggage are pretty high, and I need to bring my luggage, so that actually makes the price a lot more expensive. I still went with Peach because I traveled with them before, and they have really like nice and helpful staff, I think. But yeah, like that's the thing you should look out for. Even though this price is like, oh, it's so cheap, if it doesn't include luggage, then chances are it's gonna become at least equal to all the other ones you've seen. So think about that. There are also fees for using a credit card very often. There are fees for different like payment cards. There are fees for, I don't know, things. And then my last kind of general tip for you is that you need to be a little bit patient. Like start planning your journey a little bit ahead. I am not very good at that, but you should try it at least. Like planning it a bit ahead. And then you can keep an eye on the prices and see if they go up and down. And don't jump on the chance just because it's there. Also, it's often extremely expensive to change dates once you buy tickets. So I recommend you overlook that twice and also have your mom look at it, because I have done that so many times. I don't know what it is with me. I'm just horrible at actually ordering tickets for the right dates. I don't know what's up. Okay, so those are my tips. Now I'm just gonna tell you what I did when I planned my trip. I'm going to Korea first. I'm gonna stay there for about a week, and then I'm going to Japan. I'm gonna stay there a bit over a week. I'm gonna be staying in Seoul and Tokyo. I'm not gonna be like moving places a lot. It's gonna be one like accommodation place in Seoul and then one accommodation place in Tokyo. Because simplicity. Also because it's more expensive to travel outside of the city, so I just wanted to not do that much. Okay, so I think I've told you, but anyways, I live in a small town, so if I want to travel anywhere, I have to go through the capital, most likely. I could look at other places, like cities around me, because they tend to have more flights. But then again, Norway has really high public transportation fares, and it would be more expensive and more time consuming for me to travel up to like Trondheim, which is like 4 or 5 hours away, and then travel from there, than it just for me to fly to Oslo, which takes 1 hour, and it's relatively cheap because I get youth discounts. So my tickets look like this. My city to Oslo, and then Oslo to Seoul, South Korea. And then I have tickets from Korea to Japan, Tokyo. And then I have tickets from Tokyo, Japan to Oslo again, and then Oslo back to my city. So that's my trip. So it's like one big square. I really like this because it turned out to be so much cheaper than the other options. It was half the price of ordering tickets from my city to Seoul and back. And I had to like order this in 3 kind of groups. So the tickets from my city to Oslo and Oslo and back are one group, like I ordered them together. And then the tickets from Oslo to Korea and Tokyo to Oslo, those are together. And then I have the tickets from Korea to Japan, and those are together. And I find that to be a little bit more fiddly than maybe I would prefer. Like I do want to order everything with one travel company because, you know, if anything goes wrong, they will help you and they will be there and you won't lose tickets and all that stuff. But this was the cheapest option, and I do have faith in myself that I will be able to make it. So yeah, I looked up a lot. I took a long time to look at this. I found prices that were good and I found prices that are horrible. I looked at different travel sites like Kilroy and Momondo, and also just directly into the airline sites such as SAS and Norwegian Airlines. No, Norwegian Air Shuttles, that's what it's called. I looked up a lot of stuff. I spent a lot of time on this. This is basically stuff that you can order someone to do, not order, hire. There are travel agency people that you can talk to that will help you with this, but that's pretty expensive and I feel like I can't do it myself, so that's a little up to you if you want to hire someone for that. Like, you have probably already put up a budget for yourself, so you're probably gonna be fine whatever you do. But just that's what I did. That's what my tickets look like, and I find that to be perfectly fine. Little fiddly, but perfectly fine. All right. Well, anyways, that's what I've done. That's what I'm doing. That's what my journey is gonna look like. Now you got my best tips to find your best tickets, and I do encourage you to look up some help. Like, if you need it, ask a friend, and also make sure you got the right dates, because I keep messing that up. And I wish you good luck with finding the best tickets, cheapest tickets, and most like convenient tickets for you and your company, wherever you desire to go. And I do encourage you to actually go places, because it's pretty great. Now, I'm gonna take my leave. If you have any questions, then please do leave them in the comments. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Next time, I think I'm gonna make videos on how to airport. That's kind of my thoughts, my ideas, how to airport. And then videos on how to pack, like what to pack for Korea and what to pack for Japan and whatnot. I have a lot of ideas for videos that are gonna happen before I leave, and I leave in less than 2 weeks, which is pretty great. So if you have suggestions for videos that you wanna see when I'm in Japan and Korea, do let me know. All right, thank you so much for watching. Please do subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you next time. Okay? 안녕!